The first thing they asked me to do was to write down a series of letters and numbers, Healy said. He remembered entering the room and immediately being asked to approach the board, which he saw so clearly that he described to me as green, not black. He said he wrote with chalk. He was then told to turn around with his back against the board and recall what he had written. I didn't do so well with letters, Healy said, but he still remembered the numbers like 1, 9, 6, and 4. After the board demonstration, he remembered answering a long series of additional questions. Part of what he wrote on the board that day was indeed 1, 9, 6, and 4, in that order, according to my tape recorder and notes. But the green board was actually a white board, and he used colored markers, not chalk. Also, Healy was asked to write on the board 46 minutes after answering a series of memory questions, not the first thing. And I sat on his right on the outside of a circle, not on his left at the table. My reporting counted 7 people plus myself in the room, while Healy put the number at 15 or so. It seems puzzling why highly superior autobiographical memory individuals remember some trivial details, such as what they had for lunch 10 years ago, but not others, such as words on a word list or photographs in a slideshow. Patias and colleagues noted in the PNAS study, the answer to this may be that they may extract some personally relevant meaning from only some trivial details and weave them into the narrative for a given day. For all of us, the stronger the emotion attached to a moment, the more likely those parts of our brains involved in memory will become activated. As McGay told me, you wouldn't remember every commute you took to work each day, but if along one you witnessed a deadly crash, you would likely remember that one. Memories that stick with us are tinged with emotion. Why did evolution do that, McGay said? Because it was essential for our survival. An animal goes to the creek and gets bitten by a tiger but survives. The animal knows it's a good idea to not go to that creek again. We know animals are likely susceptible to memory distortions too, as MIT researchers recently were able to successfully plant false memories in mice. The PNAS study did not contradict that people with superior memory have abundant and accurate recall. The authors made sure to note. Indeed, Healy remembered a lot of other discussions that day, which I never would have without a recorder. He remembered being asked about March 26, 1990, and how he replied that he remembered it was the night of the Academy Awards and he was working at a mental health clinic when a patient told him that he behaved badly because the only attention he got growing up was negative. He also remembered being asked about October 8th, 2007, which he replied was a 90-degree day, and he remembered going for a swim in the ocean in the morning, and he chatted with a man who said, "Oh, it's like July out here." At the end of the memory test, McGay asked Healy, "What would you like to ask?" And Healy wanted to know how the research would be used. "There are very few people in the world that have this ability," McGay told him. "We want to know what goes on in your brain that allows you to do this." "I'm actually excited about the idea of this being used maybe to further education in psychology," Healy told the group. "It's kind of nagged in the back of my head for years. You have this special ability, but have never really been able to incorporate it much into a career." Healy said several times to me and to others that he hoped it would be used to benefit the world. Last year, researchers released a report based on the interviews with Healy and others with superior memory, showing all had more robust white matter linking the middle and front parts of their brains, compared to people with ordinary memory. When I recently talked to Healy and told him about the flawed memories proven in people with superior memories, a study that he did not participate in, he sounded disappointed to find out that his memory might actually be as malleable as an ordinary person's. He remembered how he had felt after the memory tests were completed, a mixture of satisfaction that I was able to further research and use my God-given gift to do good. Out of all of his memories, Healy had carved out a personal narrative about that day, one that fit into the complication of his life story and ended on a redemptive note. "We all have narratives," McGay said, explaining that people form beliefs and values and then develop explanations within their memories for these beliefs and values. We're all creating stories. Our lives are stories in that sense. All of these discussions got me wondering about the journalism that I practice and teach. Reporters' stories have often been considered the first drafts of history. As Caroline Kitch of Temple University wrote in the academic journal Memory Studies, perhaps journalism does not sit at the top of the hierarchical truth pile, as many journalism scholars assume. Journalism is inside memory. It is at its heart. Okay, one more and then we'll be done.